Today's vocational vocabulary lesson is all about the differences between part-time and full-time work. So once you are working, there are typically two types of work scenarios that you'll be employed under. You might be employed as a part-time worker, or you might be employed as a full-time worker. So what is part-time work? Well, part-time work is any job where a person works under 40 hours a week. Usually it's more around 30 to 35 hours, or it's under that threshold. And so these jobs are typically paid according to the hourly wage for their state or industry. So depending on what state you work in and what business you work in, you might get paid more or less. But the point is that you are paid according to an hourly wage, which in California, I believe is now $13 to $14 an hour. And so part-time work is pretty characteristic of entry-level and gig jobs. Gig jobs are where you work as an independent contractor for companies like Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, Lyft, Airbnb. These are all examples of part-time work. And it's due to the nature of the job responsibilities as well as the requirements. And so if you work a gig, you only work if you either pick up a job or if you are hired for a particular job. So it isn't as consistent as full-time work. Same for a lot of entry-level positions. You'll typically get part-time work just because of the nature of what you're doing. And so we'll look at some examples of part-time work so I can explain why it is part-time and not full-time for the most part. So why do people consider part-time work? Why is this a thing at all? Well, part-time work is an excellent option for people who are just starting their job experience. So if you're a high school graduate, or if you're someone who graduates with a certificate of completion, like students in our autism program, part-time work is an excellent option for you so that you can start to build your resume of experiences in the work environment. Working part-time is also ideal for individuals who are going to school at the same time, for people of family obligations, so if you have children or if you take care of a family member, and for people who have health conditions that just kind of deter them from working more than 30 hours a week. So if you are on dialysis, if you maybe have a stress or anxiety condition, full-time work might not be the best scenario for you because it's a lot of stress. And so working part-time gives you the option and more leisure time to yourself so that you aren't as busy and you're able to focus on your health. So here's some examples of part-time work. All right, working at a restaurant is typically part-time work. And again, that's part of the nature of the job. It's pretty grueling. You wouldn't want to work full-time at a restaurant just because it's so fast-paced. And they also don't want people to burn out quickly, and so they hire more workers, but they are also part-time workers. Being a babysitter or looking after kids, working as a paraprofessional, working as an instructional aide. These are also part-time jobs. You are paid hourly, and it's in part because of you don't babysit kids all day, right? You only watch them for a certain amount of time while their parents are at work. For instructional aides and paraprofessionals, you watch students while they're at work, but you don't work the full school day like teachers and other staff members do. If you work at a grocery store, it's likely part-time. Again, it's just the nature of the industry that they work in. And same for sales associates. The stores are only open for a certain amount of hours each day, and they typically do like a morning and afternoon / evening shift. All right, so full-time work is any job where a person works 40 hours or more a week. And so as you can see by this visual, a full-time job takes up a lot more of your time than does a part-time job. And so one of the benefits rather, of full-time work is that these jobs are typically salaried. You're paid according to a salary or an agreed upon annual amount. And so your salary is broken down into the number of months you work out of the year, and you get paid a steady base rate, a steady pay each month or twice each month, whatever your payment contract is. So a lot of full-time work, it often requires secondary education outside of high school. So you might have to have an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, in part because there's a lot more technical information and technical aspects of your job. And so additional training can be acquired at a technical school, a community college, and a university. So, full-time work is considered a career for the most part rather than just a job. And full-time work is often preferable in the long run to part-time work because it pays more. It comes with additional benefits such as insurance and retirement benefits, and you have increased job security. So there's a higher likelihood that you'll maintain your job with the organization over time. All right, there's less job turnover. So when you're working full time, that's going to be your career. And so part time work can be a stepping stone to full time work. And some people who are working full time decide, you know what, I want to scale back. I want to focus more on my family. And so they might look for part time work. So it's really a spectrum. Whatever works for you, whatever works best for you is what you should try to pursue. And so some examples of full time jobs are teachers. Teachers work a 7 to 3 p.m. So 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We work a lot more than that, to be quite honest. And so you definitely work over 40 hours a week. If you're a doctor or a nurse, that is a full-time job, taking care of patients and making sure that their health is stable and monitoring their vital signs. That is very much a full-time job where you will likely work more than 40 hours a week. Being a police officer and a firefighter, these are civil servants. They are community helpers, and they are also salaried employees. They typically have unions, as do teachers and nurses and doctors. And again, all of these jobs require additional training outside of high school, just so that you can be the best at your job as possible. Because again, these are all examples of civil servants. We are all community helpers. And so in order to do our jobs and fulfill all of the responsibilities to the fullest extent, we have to have a lot of schooling to make sure that we have the solid foundation of knowledge and experiences to help everyone that we take care of.